Hello and welcome to another episode of Dungeon Master 101. I am your host, DMG. We're ready for episode 4. This one will be all about more mechanics of the game. Specifically, what venue or what materials to use when actually running the game. So we're going to talk about 4 of them. The first one is super easy, but at the same time incredibly difficult. It's called Theater of the Mind. There's nothing needed for this type of game except dice. No minis, no battle mats, no maps, nothing except the mind. Now this is super easy because of the Dungeon Master only has to bring himself and his dice and some notes. The hard thing is he has to go into incredible depth on everything he does. From you are so many feet from here, you are so many feet from here. This is what's happening over here. This is what it looks like. All these things that are happening, you have to describe in detail to your characters or your players. The reason this is so difficult is you have to have several things going constantly in your head. Just the spatial geometry of where everyone is can be really challenging. But if your brain works like that, this is super easy. You don't even have to lug several things of minis with you everywhere you go. The next one, the battle mat. DMG loves him some battle mats, and we'll talk about more about this in detail right now. One of the reasons I love battle mats is because that once you put them out here, your players know exactly where each of the characters are, where the monsters are, how far they are. I love using different colored markers so that, I'm going to do a fireball, and there's a spell effect, so I know that if these two guys are together, I can capture them in there. Also, there's a river of lava going through the room. As you can see, this is, it just lets the players be a little more immersed into it. And also, if there's something in the room that I need to draw, like, right here is a throne, the players know exactly where everything is. Now, that being said, there are different kinds of battle mats, which I'll discuss a little bit later, but I prefer the dry erase, just like this, because check it out. The river of lava is gone. So this is the battle mat format. There are different kinds of battle mat with different scenery, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. All right, third type, 3D. A little over a year ago, I went to a con and played Tomb of Horrors, and the Dungeon Master, who was an excellent Dungeon Master in and of himself, had a 3D model, sectional and modular, of the whole map of the Tomb of Horrors. I was geeked out. So ever since, I started using 3D things in my game. And I'll demonstrate how that would work, how that would look now, as well as show you some photos of whole buildings and structures that I've crafted personally, and not to toot my own horn, but the link to my Etsy site where you can purchase any of these things is down in the comments below. But you'll see several photos of things that I use in the game to give it a 3D look, and I'll show you more about how that looks right here. All right, the 3D. This is one of the things I love about 3D. As my players turn the corner of the hallway, I let them know that there's a door there. So when they pick the lock and check for traps, I'm able to open the door. This way they know this door is open, so that they don't have to actually picture it. It's right there. In the room, they know that one hallway has a portcullis. Hey, and look in the corner, there's a ladder going up to a trap door. And over here against this wall is a statue of Cthulhu with an altar in front of it. All these things they don't have to worry about actually seeing or worry about imagining, because right there they know where it is. So that I can put a player character's mini on top of the altar. I can have him over here investigating the ladder and the trap door. I can have them over there picking locks. All these things are possible with this kind of format. Now, just as easily, I can move things around so that this is actually a cavern entrance. And when they walk in, against this wall is a raised dais with a throne. That's wonderful because it lets them see it as well. And against this one is actually a wall of force of some kind. So they know that that is just not a standard door. There's also braziers on both sides of it. I love this because I have players that love to use inanimate objects, so they might use the brazier to try to batter down the wall of force. All these things are possible with 3D stuff. You can 3D print some of these things. There are crafting methods. A lot of things I just showed you were either purchased through sets, or I crafted them, or 3D printed them. And that includes, you might have a statue with a fountain in it. You have another statue over here that eventually will come to life and try to kill the party. And then, check it out, they've gone into a pub. So you have the bars, you have the tables. When that door goes out, I mean, all these things, so you can just constantly barrage your players with a 3D immersive experience so that they are actually a part of it, so that when they say, hey, I'm going to hide behind the altar, there is an altar for their character to hide behind. What I'll do is I will include some links to some 3D printable things, as well as some of the bigger mini companies that I use on a regular basis, so that I can share those resources with you as well. So you've seen those three. The fourth one is probably my favorite, a combination of all the previous three. I love using theater of the mind. I love painting a photo, immersing my players in everything from the smell of baked meat pies at the pub to unwashed urchins begging them for copper pieces. I mean, anything I can do to actually give them the smells and the sounds and the feel of where they are, I'm all for it. Theater of the mind stuff. But for the actual mechanics, I love me a good battle mat. There are several ones out there. I prefer the dry erase ones. Like I showed you, I demonstrated that before. I prefer those because, once you do one area, you can just take your eraser whoosh, and you're ready for another one. To each his own. I know a lot of people that like the wet erase. I'm just not a big fan. So I've got several dry erase battle mats with me at all times. In fact, I've ordered a couple that I will put the links to those on here as well, that are already scenery oriented. But what that means, the battle mats are ocean battle mats or forest battle mats, or there's all kinds, but I'll put some of those in the comments below as well. And I love to put 3D elements onto my battle mat, so that when they walk in the room and I've already drawn it out, they know that over here's the throne, over here is the pile of treasure. Then I break out, because I am a mini-aholic. I hereby acknowledge that to everyone who's watching right now. I love minis. So when I say that there are 12 zombies in this room, I like having my zombies laid out so that the players can look at the battle mat and go, oh, great. Those zombies are in perfect fireball formation. I can take out, 12 of those zombies like that, because they can see that each square is 5 feet, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I use all three of the previous ones. So my favorite is actually the fourth one, incorporating all of them. But once again, that's really and truly, your prerogative as the Dungeon Master, which one you're the most comfortable with, which one you enjoy the most, and thereby making your players enjoy the most. So as we wind this up, I'm asking that if you like this, tell your friends, subscribe, make comments below. I'm hoping that this channel will help to let Dungeon Masters share resources. So if you have a link to a battle mat that you think is just amazing, put it in the comments below so that the other Dungeon Masters can see it and have that same resource. So that's it for this episode, episode 5 of Dungeon Master 101. Again, I am your host, DMG. Go out there and game with excellence.